Hey guys, today we're talking all about A/B testing in Klaviyo. I'll walk you through everything you need to know about A/B testing, show you how to set up A/B tests in Klaviyo, give you a couple of test ideas, and go over some pro tips so you can optimize your campaign and flow emails. So let's get started. If you're not familiar with A/B testing or split testing, it's the process of experimenting with different versions of your emails to see which one performs better. For example, let's say you want to improve your open rate. You can set up a test with two subject lines. Maybe one's fun and catchy, while the other is more straightforward and to the point. Then, you send those emails out to your customers and see which one leads to more opens. A/B testing gives you valuable insights into what's working and what's not, so you don't have to guess or rely on your gut. You'll have solid data to back up your decisions. And it's not just a one-time benefit. Once you figure out what works for your customers, you can use those insights in future campaigns and emails to improve your marketing and revenue long term. So A/B testing isn't just making small tweaks to your emails here and there. It's a systematic way to optimize your emails and make smarter, data-driven decisions that pay off. Alright, before we jump into Klaviyo and set up some A/B tests, let's quickly go over the A/B testing process. Keep in mind, Klaviyo handles a lot of this for you, but it's important to understand how the process works when you're coming up with test ideas. First, you want to set the goal for your A/B test. What exactly are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to increase open rates, clicks, or conversions? Setting your goal helps you choose the variable you're going to test. For example, if you wanted to improve your open rate, you could test your subject line. If you were looking to improve your click-through rate, you could test your call to action. It's important to only test one variable at a time so you know exactly how it impacts your results. Next, you split your email list into two groups. One group will get the original email, and the other group will get the test variant. In a bit, I'll show you how Klaviyo does this for you automatically. During your test, you're going to track the metric you wanted to improve when you set your goal. Again, this is something that Klaviyo takes care of for you automatically. And finally, you choose a winner based on your goal metric. For example, if your goal was to increase your open rate, and the test variant had more opens than your original email, then the test variant is your winner. Now let's jump into Klaviyo and set up some A/B tests so you can see this process in action. First, let's set up an A/B test in a campaign email. We're going to send out an email announcing our spring sale, and we want to test whether including the discount percentage in the subject line leads to more opens compared to a subject line without the discount percentage. In Klaviyo, the first thing you want to do is go to campaigns in the left-hand menu. If you have an existing campaign, you'll select that. Otherwise, you can click the create campaign button on the top right. For this example, we have an existing campaign called the spring sale campaign. So we're going to click on that. Choose who you want to send it to. We only have one person on our newsletter because this is our demo account, and then hit continue the content. On this page, you'll enter in the subject line, preview text, sender name, and sender email address for the campaign. In this example, we're going to be testing the subject line. So here we want to enter our control subject line without the discount percentage. So let's just do spring into savings. Our exclusive spring sale starts now. Next, you want to enter in the preview text, which will stay the same across both variants. And then we want to hit drag and drop to choose our email template. And let's go ahead and choose this one. Use the template. And then we'll just say it's 25% off. And we'll change up the discount code. And then hit save. All right, so now you're back on this screen, and from here we want to click Create A/B Test at the bottom. This creates a second variation of your email, so you'll notice we now have variation A and variation B. Variation A is going to be our control variant, so in our case this is the email that does not have the discount percentage in the subject line, and then variant B is going to be our test variant. So this email will have the discount percentage in the subject line. Now, under the variation name field, for each variation, we want to enter a name that describes what we're A/B testing. So in our case, since variation A is the control email, we can type in subject line without discount percentage. And then in variation B, we can type in subject line with discount percentage. Now, since variation B is our test email, we're going to change the subject line here to include a discount percentage. So let's change it to spring into savings, save up to 25% now. Now remember, it's important to only test one variable at a time. So because we changed the subject line, we're not going to change anything else here or within our email template. Everything between the two emails should be exactly the same, with the exception of the subject line or whatever variable you're choosing to test. Now we can go ahead and close this out. Okay, the next step is to choose the winning metric. There's a couple of different options to choose from. For our example, since we're testing the subject line, we're going to choose the open rate as the winning metric, but let's just talk through these options real quick. The first option is open rate. So this is great for testing variables like the subject line, preview text, sender name, or sender email address. And basically whichever variant has more opens is going to be the winner. The next option is click rate. So choose this if you're testing content inside the email itself, like the email layout, images, or your call to action button placement. Basically with this metric, the email that results in more clicks is selected as the winner. Now the third option is placed order rate. And you might not see this option when you're running A/B tests because this is only available if you've connected your Klaviyo account to your e-commerce store. So again, since we're testing the subject line, we're going to choose open rate as our winning metric. Next up is the size distribution. This basically determines what percentage of your list will receive one of your test variants and what percentage will receive the winning variation. Personally, I like to set the test size to 50%. So that way, a quarter of your email list gets variation A, another quarter gets variation B, and then the winning variant will be sent to the remaining 50% of your email list. And next you can choose the test duration. Now, one important thing I want to point out is you can actually have more than 2 variants. So if you wanted to have a third variant, you can clone your variant by clicking this clone button here. It's not something I generally recommend, especially when you're first starting out with A/B testing. But if you do decide to go down this route, I would limit it to 3 variants total for the A/B test. And if you have more than 3 variants you want to test, I would split that up into multiple tests. And finally, if you're looking to test the send time, you can click the option up here and enter in the different send times that you want to test. But again, you only want to test one variable at a time. So if you're going to test the send time, make sure everything else within your 2 variants is exactly the same. And that's pretty much it. Now we're done setting up our A/B test, so you can click continue to review and schedule your campaign. All right, now let's look at how to set up A/B tests for your Klaviyo Flow emails. In this example, we'll set up a subject line A/B test for our abandoned cart flow to see whether including the customer's first name in the subject line leads to more opens. So let's go into our flows page. And if you don't have a flow set up already, you can create a flow using the create flow button at the top right. We already have one set up, so we'll go ahead and click on that. Now on the flow builder page, you'll want to click on the specific email that you want to A/B test. So in our case, we'll choose abandoned cart email 1. Now from here, you can click on create A/B test. Again, this creates a second variation of your email. So we have variation A and variation B. So the first thing we're going to do is go to the name field for each variation and type in a name that describes what we're A/B testing. So we can do subject without personalization. And then subject with personalization. Okay, so variation A is going to be our control variant. So we're going to use the default subject line that does not have the customer's first name. And variation B is going to be our test variant. So we're going to edit the subject line to include the customer's first name. And again, it's important to only test one variable at a time. So everything else between the 2 emails should be exactly the same. Okay, so now we can go ahead and close this out. Next up, you can choose the sending distribution. By default, it automatically chooses the distribution for you, but if you disable this toggle, you can choose what percentage of customers who enter the flow will receive variation A versus variation B. Generally here, you want to allow Klaviyo to automatically choose the distribution for you, so we'll go ahead and enable that toggle. And next, we tell Klaviyo how to choose the winner. If you click into the configure link, you'll notice that by default, the winner is chosen based on click rate. And you might be thinking, we should change this to the open rate, right? Because we're testing the subject line. But generally here with flows, it's best to stick with the default setting of click rate. And that's because there are several things that can lead to inflated open rates. And if you want to learn more about that, you can click the link in the description below. So we'll stick with the default settings here and click Save Settings. And that's pretty much it. Our A/B test for our abandoned cart flow is all set up. So you can go ahead and click Publish Test. Alright, we tested the subject line in both examples, but you can test just about anything. Here's some of the common variables you can test based on your goal. To improve your open rate, you can test things like the from name, the subject line, or preview text. For example, you can test whether the email comes from your company or a specific person. You can test using emojis in the subject line, or including a call to action in your preview text. If your goal is to improve your click-through rate, you can test variables like the email layout, using different images and visuals, maybe switching up the text content, or even your CTA. Some examples of tests you could run here are using different colors for your CTA button, maybe changing up the placement of the CTA within your email, or even test sending plain text emails versus emails with a design layout. You can also test the send time to figure out the best time to email your customers to maximize opens, engagement, and sales. If you need more test ideas, be sure to check out the link in the description below where we break down more A/B test examples for each of these variables. A/B testing isn't complicated, and Klaviyo makes it super simple. So let's wrap up this video with some pro tips to help you get the most out of your A/B tests. Tip number 1, before you run a test, think about what you want to achieve and create your test with this goal in mind. So if you're looking to increase your open rate, it makes no sense to test changing out the image inside the email because that image has zero impact on whether or not someone will open your email. Tip number 2, test one variable at a time to accurately measure how it impacts results. So if you're testing your subject line, don't also change the from name because you won't know whether the change in the subject line or the change in the from name led to more people opening your email. Tip number 3, test low effort variables first. Start by testing simple variables like the subject line and sender name to get some quick wins. Remember, you're going to use the results from these tests in your future emails. So by optimizing your subject line and sender name to improve your open rate, when you get to the point of running more complicated tests to improve your click-through rate and generate more sales, you'll already have more people opening your emails. Tip number 4, focus on the important emails. Prioritize testing emails that generate the most revenue or reach the largest audience. The good examples of this are your welcome series or your abandoned cart flow. By optimizing these 2 emails first, you're going to increase sales from new customers and recapture lost sales from people who left items in their cart. And finally, tip number 5, limit your tests to 3 variants. Keep your tests simple by testing no more than 3 variations at a time. If you have more than 3 variations you want to test, split them up into multiple tests. For example, you can test variant 1 versus variant 2, and let's say variant 2 wins. Now you test variant 2 against variant 3, and maybe variant 2 wins again. Now you can test variant 2 against variant 4, and so on and so forth until you've tested all of your variants. And that's a wrap on our crash course on A/B testing and Klaviyo. Remember, it's all about experimenting and optimizing your emails to learn what works best for converting customers and increasing revenue. If you want your A/B test done for you, click the link in the description below to book a free call with our team. If you enjoyed this video and you're looking to kickstart your Klaviyo journey and get results quickly, then check out our e-commerce email marketing accelerator. I'll be sure to include a link in the description below, but man, this thing is amazing. It's the ultimate checklist for email marketing, covering everything from general Klaviyo and email setup to flows, campaigns, opt-in forms, design, email deliverability, and a ton of other information. Altogether, it has over 175 different action items, all sorted by the level of difficulty, its impact on sales, and step-by-step guidance on each one. It even has flows and campaigns in here that are used by 7-figure brands. So if you really want to supercharge your email marketing, I highly suggest checking it out. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next video.